What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of Ace Attorney 6. We are currently cross-examining Emma Sky's testimony. In other words, the defense asserts that the victim was killed before the wedding reception. In short. A lot of things are in short. It's not very short then, is it? When Miss Wyatt was seen standing in front of the body after the reception, it wasn't the moment just after the murder was committed. It was the moment she happened to discover the body, just as Miss Wyatt claims.
Objection!
Whether the act was committed before or after the reception is entirely inconsequential. After all, it was the defendant who prepared the reception hall for the event in question. Therefore, when the murder occurred changes nothing with regard to her guilt. She could have killed the victim before the reception, as you claim, and then tried to hide his body in the lantern after the event ended.
Objection!
Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, where would the body have been hidden during the reception in your scenario? Even you have to admit, Mr. Edgeworth, that this has opened up a new possibility. Do explain, Mr. Wright. Well, if Miss White didn't commit the crime in the reception hall, then that means someone, somewhere, put the victim's body into the lantern. I suppose that makes sense. A dead body couldn't have put itself in there. Exactly, Your Honor. In other words, if the murder actually occurred before the reception, it opens up the possibility that... if the body was hidden inside the lantern, then it's possible that the body was moved along with it from somewhere else. You're right. You can run that mouth of yours all you want. But do you have any evidence to support what's coming out of it, Mr. Wright? Of course I do. I think the answer lies in that piece of evidence, and in something that was left at the crime scene that will point us to where the victim was really killed. Very well, Mr. Wright, in that case, what proves that the lantern and the body were moved from somewhere else? I don't know.
Take that!
Nope. Let's see. Nope! Guilty! Probably the fastest guilty verdict I've had all game. Alright. Don't rub it in. I got it. Boy. At least I get to take 5 more shots in the dark. Let's go with...
Take that!
Nope, not that either. We'll get it eventually! Let's see here.
Take that!
Nope. Because there's a diagram in there, I thought maybe the diagram would help. Nope. The note? I don't know.
Take that!
Nope. We're almost out of evidence.
Take that!
Wow, I'm gonna get a second game over. I'm going to get a second game over. Are you kidding me? We don't even have that much evidence.
Take that!
Well, that's game over. All right, I'm just gonna fast forward. Oh, what? Wait, this is right? Oh! It's the out-of-place flowers.
Take that!
Flower petals, Mr. Wright. Yeah, because they weren't in the chapel. These petals are from a kind of flower that were not present in the reception hall. This means they must have gone into the lantern when it was somewhere else. And just where do you propose this somewhere else to be, Mr. Wright? I propose that this piece of evidence will tell us where the flower petals come from. Oh my god. Let's look around. Nope. There it is!
Take that!
Please take a look at the flowers in this picture of the hold. Notice how their petals are of the same shape as the petals in the crime scene photo. Yes, I see. They do look to be from the same kind of flower.
Objection!
Why did they change his objection voice? It sounds ridiculous now. Is that really all you've got? A flower is a flower is a flower. They're all the same. I'd hardly call what you presented compelling evidence. I'm afraid I couldn't disagree with you more, Mr. Edgeworth. I gave a flower of this type to my lovely wife once when we were young. So I can assure you that this is very meaningful and compelling evidence indeed. The soundness of my judgment in this matter is backed by nothing less than pure love. But, Your Honor, let it go, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear you don't know much about flowers. It's not like you have anyone you'd actually give any to. Wow, that is a low blow. And personal. But maybe you should study up on them, just in case the opportunity presents itself. This from the man who only knows the names of 3 types of flowers. That's hardly relevant to the case at hand. The defense asserts that it's highly probable that the victim was killed in the hold. If the body was then placed in the lantern and moved to the reception hall for some reason, it would completely destroy the prosecution's case. Then you mean the body was... Yes, the victim's body was... inside the lantern during the entire beautiful wedding reception, while the defendant and her betrothed were celebrating their love. NANI?!
Objection!
Your smooth talk might work on his honor, but it won't work on me. What are you talking about now? Take a good look at all the evidence and you'll soon see what I mean. I wish you would just tell me already. Detective Sky, I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm talking about, correct? Of course, sir. Mr. Wright is the only one here who hasn't. Why don't you leave this to me, Mr. Edgeworth? Hurry up! Why don't you show it? Why don't I do? Yes, why don't you? Yes, you should. Do it. Oh god, I went too far. Ah, okay, I'll read it in here. The victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Well, with the fog machine with dry ice, maybe. It's clear Mr. Gloomsbury was killed after the reception. And that completely contradicts your claim. Tell me you took at least a cursory glance at the autopsy report. It appears you've grown rusty since our last outing. Might I suggest you go back and brush up on the basics? Okay. Sure, though I must say you're as cocky as ever, Mr. Edgeworth. I beg your pardon? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? I'm just saying that I'll go back to basics if that's what Mr. Edgeworth wants. I'll prove how badly he's underestimating me with a good old-fashioned cross-examination. Very well, let's see you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Wright. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
Objection!
I love the easy ones. I admit that the estimated time of death does contradict my theory. Finally! And that means your theory that the victim was killed before the reception is still entirely plausible. What makes you think that? The killer could have falsified the time of death by using a certain item in the reception hall. If you've played as many Ace Attorney games, all the spin-offs and all the regular ones, then yes, refrigerators, ice blocks, they've been used before. Please take a look at this. And what is that contraption, Mr. Wright? It's a fog machine, Your Honor, used to create a special romantic atmosphere in the hall. And this machine could have been used to falsify the time of death. Yes, Your Honor, because this machine uses dry ice to perform its magic. Dry ice? The super cold stuff commonly used to make the theatrical fog. I see, so your claim is that this dry ice was used to keep the body cold. In that case, I guess the victim could have been killed before the reception. Order! Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this? That the victim was killed in the hold before the wedding reception. The prosecution acknowledges the possibility of this claim. Now we're getting somewhere. The prosecution would also like to thank you, Mr. Wright. For what? I didn't know how a certain piece of evidence fit into this case. But now, thanks to you, I do. What piece of evidence? To get into the hold, one needs a key card like this one. And here we have a record of those who entered the hold with such key cards. The times aren't specified, but these are the last 3 entries on the day of the murder. And as you can see, the last person to enter the hold that day was the defendant. So, the one who moved the body out of the hold must have been... That's right. It was none other than the defendant. Hey Nick, take a look at this entry record. There are a couple of other names on here besides Ellen's. You're right. According to the entry record, Mr. Edgeworth, Pierce Nichodi had also gone into the hold. Isn't it possible that he could have been the culprit?
Objection!
Sorry, but Mr. Nichodi was escorting a few of the guests at the time. I'm sure they'd be happy to testify to that fact if you'd like. Think me cocky all you like, Mr. Wright, but my confidence is rarely misplaced. Now then, it's probably safe to assume that after killing the victim in the hold, the defendant moved his body to the hall in order to dispose of it discreetly. What do you mean by discreetly? The defendant volunteered to take care of the reception's cleanup personally. That means she would have had the chance to dispose of anything in any way she wanted, including taking the lantern off the airship without raising any suspicion. Don't tell me you didn't know about Miss White volunteering for cleanup duty. For my last task as a servant of the Sprocket household, I offered to take on the preparation and cleanup of the reception banquet. Look at you sweating buckets like a rookie, even after all these years, nevertheless. Thanks for proving that the only person who could have killed the victim in the hold is Ellen Wyatt. Great job, Phoenix. Now we're back to square one. Perhaps you should ask Miss Sykes for some help in reviewing Defense for Dummies. Way to go, sir! You got Mr. Wright in a cold sweat. I wonder if maybe the promise of seeing that miserable look on his face is what brought me back to court today. It certainly made all my stress and woes as chief prosecutor just melt away. I guess he had a lot of stress built up. I'll give him something to stress over before we're through today. Your Honor, the prosecution asks that you render your verdict at this time. Before that man over there tries to throw the court into chaos with his meaningless bluffs. I see, Mr. Wright. Are there any last meaningful bluffs you'd like to present to this court? Why does he have to assume it'll be a bluff? Hurry up and throw a good one out there. I will. Well, alright then, let's see. I've got it. How do you know if it was Miss White who used her key card? After all, if it turns out that somebody else used her card, it would mean Miss White didn't do it. Interesting. And are you able to prove this bluff to be true? I assure you I'm not bluffing. Well, now what? Wait a minute. I can think of a certain somebody who might have used Ellen's key card. Remember? The one who was sneaking around the hold in spite of not being a family member? That's right. Your Honor, the defense would like to call a certain witness to the stand. I need the testimony of this person.
Take that!
That's your witness? Are you saying that numbskull was on the airship? He never breathed a word about that to me. That's not surprising because Mr. Nichodi told him to keep quiet about it. But Mr. Mr. Butts himself admitted it to me. He claimed to have found a way to sneak into the Flying Chapel's hold to see Miss Wyatt. This photo he took and gave to me as proof. Then was it he who moved the lantern with the body inside to the reception hall? You know as well as I that with him, anything's possible. And this is one possibility we should definitely look into. I can't believe this. What in the world is he doing mixed up in this? Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Remember what we've been saying since elementary school? His butt stinks! Exactly. That Larry, he'll pay for this. Well, if you want to extract your payment now, he's right up there in the gallery. Bailiff, seize the witness before he makes a run for it. Why does this stuff always happen to me? Sorry, Larry, but you brought this on yourself. Let us break for a 15-minute recess. I'll ask that both sides prepare for the next witness's testimony during this time. Wow, it's been a while since I've had this much fun and excitement. A face-off against Mr. Edgeworth. A harrowing tightrope walk for the defense. I'm exhausted already. False! I'm here for moral support. Athena, are you all done practicing for Trucy's magic show? Well, to be perfectly honest, I sort of ran away. But that's because she was putting my life in danger, I tell you. I see. I think I'll need to have a one-on-one with her. You're really athletic and fit, Athena, so Trucy probably thinks she can run you ragged. That may be true. Which is why not even Trucy can keep up with me when I run at full speed. Looks like you spoke too soon, Athena. Never underestimate the resourcefulness of a great magician. Magical girl Phoenix Wright is on the scene. Now, Athena, it's time to practice human combustion magic. Go on, douse yourself in this gasoline. But don't worry, it's a magic trick after all, so it's perfectly safe. Hey, you're not getting off that easily. They get along so well, don't they? It reminds me of the good old days. You, me, and Pearly. Oh, and Detective Gumshoe, can't forget him. We had all kinds of fun at the crime scenes back then, remember? Leaving me to do all the serious investigating, as I recall. Court will soon be back in session, Mr. Wright. Right, thank you. So Larry's the next witness, right? Can't wait to see what happens. Sadly, I can already imagine it. Seems like a pretty good time to end this episode, which is what I'm gonna do! So stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!